Look closely at any modern operating system, and you will see thousands of processes and threads executing concurrently. This constant, overlapping activity is how CPUs maximize their hardware efficiency. But these individual threads rarely operate in total isolation. To perform meaningful work, they frequently need to read and write to the same shared resources, like specific memory locations, shared local files, or external databases. This shared access introduces a logistical challenge. The operating system's scheduler constantly pauses and resumes these processes through context switching, moving them in and out of the CPU. It executes this switching in a non-deterministic order. The vulnerability arises when two or more processes target the exact same shared resource at the exact same fraction of a second, both attempting to access and modify the data simultaneously. This unregulated access breaks the atomicity of system operations. Without guaranteed, uninterrupted execution from start to finish, the shared data quickly falls into an inconsistent state, causing fatal data corruption. Computer scientists define this exact vulnerability as the critical section problem. It remains one of the most persistent hazards in systems architecture. To build safe, multi-threaded systems, engineers must deliberately isolate vulnerable code and strictly enforce three mathematical rules governing memory access. Rule 1, mutual exclusion. Rule 2, progress. And Rule 3, bounded weighting. We can observe the mechanics of this failure through what is known as a race condition. This is an error where a program's final output depends entirely on the unpredictable sequence in which the OS schedules processes. This animated visualization details a shared variable set to a value of 5. It is targeted by two concurrent processes. Process P1 is programmed to increment the counter, and process P2 is programmed to decrement it. Under normal sequential execution, P1 runs first. Its cycle finishes, pushing the counter up to 6. Then P2 runs, completes its cycle, and the counter returns safely back to 5. But watch what happens if the operating system's scheduler interrupts the sequence right in the middle of a read-modify-write cycle. Because of the interruption, both P1 and P2 read the original value of 5 into their local memory at the exact same time. They execute their math independently. Now, depending entirely on which process writes its answer back to the shared variable first, the final output is corrupted. It could arbitrarily become 4, 5, or 6. Without synchronization, the output of basic arithmetic is no longer guaranteed by the code. It is dictated entirely by the operating system's internal clock. This abstract logic scales to high-stakes failures. This diagram displays a banking ledger managing a shared account with a starting master balance of 1,000 rupees. Two separate ATM nodes arrive with withdrawal requests of 500 and 700 rupees. Both remote locations attempt to process their withdrawals at the exact same millisecond. Because the requests hit the server concurrently, both ATM processes read the 1,000 rupee balance into memory before any deduction is processed. Operating completely unaware of one another, both machines validate that the account has sufficient funds. They execute the subtraction locally, preparing new balances of 500 and 300 rupees. The system fails when both processes write their calculated updates back to the master ledger. They overwrite each other with outdated information. Instead of cleanly declining the second transaction for insufficient funds, the master record displays an entirely incorrect final number. The code running on each ATM is perfectly valid on its own. Yet, because it operates on shared data without a mechanism for mutual awareness, it still corrupts the system state. To prevent race conditions, system designers deliberately restructure how programs are written. They explicitly isolate the vulnerable code. This diagram isolates the architecture of that solution. The central zone is the critical section. This is the restricted part of a program where shared data and resources are actively accessed and modified. Before a process can reach that shared data, it must navigate the entry section. Here, the process stops to formally request permission from the operating system to proceed. Once permission is granted, it enters the critical section. The process holds exclusive rights to execute the shared resource code while the perimeter locks down, blocking all competing requests. After the modification is complete, the process moves downward into the exit section, where it officially releases its lock on the resource. Finally, the process enters the remainder section. It resumes executing independent code that does not read or write to any shared states. This four-part lifecycle acts as a mandatory quarantine zone, ensuring that resource access is highly structured rather than chaotic. Structuring the code into sections solves the architecture, but the mechanism actively managing the lock must pass 3 strict mathematical tests for correctness. This schematic details requirement 1, mutual exclusion. This is the core principle of process isolation. The rule states that if one process is executing inside the critical section, all other competing processes must be absolutely barred from entering. Requirement 2 is progress. This rule maintains system efficiency and prevents gridlock. If the critical section is empty, processes waiting outside must be allowed to make a swift decision on who enters next. Furthermore, a process safely executing in its remainder section cannot hold up the line. It cannot block others from entering. Requirement 3 is bounded waiting. This condition prevents a single process from stalling indefinitely. Once a process requests access, there must be a finite, guaranteed limit on how many times other processes can bypass it in the queue before it finally gets its turn. A synchronization tool is only mathematically valid if it guarantees all 3 conditions simultaneously: mutual exclusion to prevent corruption, progress to prevent stalling, and bounded waiting to prevent starvation. A fully synchronized system executes as a frictionless orchestration. Individual processes request locks, execute their operations, and release shared resources in perfect sequence. Under this model, the data corruption observed in the counter and banking ledgers becomes mathematically impossible. These 3 theoretical rules dictate the specific architecture of the synchronization tools utilized by software engineers today. As shown in this taxonomy, implementation begins at the base architectural level. Systems utilize specific hardware instructions to enforce isolation, relying on commands like disable interrupts, test and set, and compare and swap. Operating systems then take those hardware instructions and build high-level software tools on top of them. This layer provides engineers with mechanisms like mutex locks, semaphores, and monitors. If these mechanisms are missing or incorrectly configured, system reliability drops to 0. Applications crash without warning, and severe security vulnerabilities emerge from overlapping memory states. Formally defining and solving the critical section problem provides the absolute bedrock foundation required to build safe, reliable, multi-threaded computing.